We're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our very first live event with Vessel Forge on Discord. So, as you probably know, my name is Jonathan Benainous. I'm owner and CEO of Vessel Forge, and I'm super excited to be here. We've been working on having this live session, for a while. And yeah, the first person I would like to introduce you to, and she must be as excited as I am. She's our community manager, and that's Penny Gobetz. Welcome, Penny. How
Hi.
are you
Oh my
doing?
gosh. Yes, this is so nice. Thank you for the invite. I was very excited to meet with everybody and kind of just make my first debut, my appearance, if you will, for the server. I really want to get to know each one of you, each and every one of you. I know that sounds daunting, but we're gonna make it. Okay, we're gonna make it happen. I am the Discord mod slash community manager here for Vessel Forge. It's been an honor working with Jonathan over the past few months, just kind of helping gear up this community and make us a little bit more accessible to you guys. A little bit about me. I'm based in Dallas, Texas. If I have any fellow Texans in the room, howdy and hello. Really nice to meet you guys. I've got two cats named Bonham and Burton. I will show them off as often as I can, or that you'll allow me to. They are put away for the time being because they're quite disruptive during calls, but I will invite them in at any other time. But I guess a little more about me. I am a concept artist and an illustrator. I work on a few different indie projects. I'm just in general in love with this industry. I'm in love with meeting new people and helping kind of support, I guess, our peers, my peers in this industry, and get people face to face with those who can help you, either gain your bearings, teach you a new skill that's essential for you to get that job at the end of the day. I'm here to help offer even some light career advice. I've got lots of experience to kind of share with you guys, from my own travels and working with other companies and working with other studios and things. So, like, I would love to impart any knowledge I can as well, just casually here in the community. So, please drop me a line if there's something I can support you with, or that we can do better, or we can open up a new channel for. Um, Honestly, I'm just here to help you guys and give you as many resources as I can. But otherwise, thank you so much. This is me. I'm here. I'm a big nerd too. I love games. I love movies. You name it. So we can just hang out if we need to. Okay, that's what I look forward to the
Awesome.
most, actually.
That's awesome to have you here, Penny. That's great. And
Cheers.
yeah, you've been doing an amazing job on the community. Like it's great to see, the
Oh,
channel growing and having everyone like coming in, etc. So
it's
yeah,
even
welcome again.
it's
Super happy to work with
you
you.
guys are bringing them in. I mean, we want to get to know you guys better, right? I think we're
Yep.
excited to learn about these mentorships and maybe even make our networks expand. I think that's also very important too. So,
Totally. So yeah, the next guest for today. Spoiler: we worked together already. We even did a presentation together. It was pretty awesome. And the next person is Jared Sobotta. How's it going, man?
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Jonathan. I am also very excited to be here and be one of the initial mentors here at Vessel Forge. So, I am your vegetation and plants mentor at Vessel Forge. So, like I said, really excited to be here. I've been teaching for probably going back to 2020 or 2016 or so. So, going on 10 years now. So, it's kind of a passion of mine. I've had a lot of fun over the years transitioning from environment art to just kind of focusing on vegetation, which has been a blast. I've taught at other online schools, and moving over to Vessel Forge has been pretty great. Started up with my first mentee, so I've really been enjoying that, getting into the swing of more intimate sessions one on one. So I look forward to working with you if you decide to make some plants and vegetation with me. A little bit about myself. Like Jonathan mentioned, I did work with him at Naughty Dog. I am currently there. I'm actually on year 10 this year, so it's been a
wow,
decade,
congrats.
which is pretty crazy in retrospect that it's been that long. I'm starting to feel a little bit dated, if that makes sense. But
That's stamina.
uh,
You're good.
stamina, yeah, that's what we'll say. I also have two cats, Elfie and Oliver. I thought I needed to follow up with that, but um, like I mentioned, I'm a principal artist at Naughty Dog. I've been focusing on textures, organic modeling, all those things. I love sculpting. So if you're into hand creating, hand making, I'm your guy. If you're interested in kind of building upon those skill sets, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. So thanks for having me.
Nice. Yeah, it's awesome to have you in the team, Jared. And the last one, and again, spoiler, we work together. And the last guest is Grayson. How's it going, man? Welcome.
Hey everybody, I'm Grayson. I'm going to be your technical art mentor over at Vessel Forge. I'm currently a senior technical artist over at Naughty Dog. I do a lot of destruction and dynamics on a day-to-day, but I originally started getting into this field doing a lot of modeling and texturing. So, I started off as a props artist, did a lot of sort of, very detailed and intricate things that I like to start with, but I've sort of started to like doing more procedural stuff and getting more into systems and whatnot. So that's what we'll be covering a lot of in the technical art mentorship. Is going to be mainly stuff in Houdini, but we'll also work a little bit in Unreal as well, where we're going over HDAs, how to create tools and stuff for production, fun stuff like that. How do you map out systems and stuff? I still like modeling a lot, but I've gotten more into that sort of stuff. Otherwise, just a little bit about myself. I'm from Colorado. I also have 2 cats, but they are unfortunately in Colorado. I'd like to bring them out here, but they're kind of they're winter cats. They like their outside time in the snow.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Nice.
Fun fact, I didn't know we all had 2
Nice.
cats. Jonathan, you don't have any cats, do you?
I need to get some.
Seems to be the sweet
Sorry.
spot.
Join the cat club.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I can give you a little bit of like some more info about my background as well. So I'm currently lead material artist at Lightspeed LA. I've been working with Jared and Grayson for almost 4 years at Naughty Dog previously. And I started in the video game industry, I think a little over 20 years now, 2005 or 6 or something like that. So fun fact, I started as a concept artist because I really sucked at 3D. It was not good at all. It was not my thing, and I just really worked hard to kind of get better at it because that's what I wanted to do. So I could just working, and I had my first gig on a AAA game. The first one was Heavy Rain, and then I worked on Beyond Two Souls at Quantic Dream, I worked on a bunch of AAA games, so Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, Quantic Dream, Horizon Zero Dawn, at Guerrilla Games in Amsterdam. Then went back to France, worked on Ghost Recon Wildlands, and then moved to Canada to work on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. From there, I went to WB Games to work on Gotham Knights, and more recently, I worked on The Last of Us Part 1 with these 2 gentlemen. It's been a fun ride, and yeah, I'm excited to be here today. So just to give you a little bit of background on the project itself on Vessel Forge, it's really been a couple of years now that I really felt the need to kind of like give back to the community and just support the new generation of artists in general. Back in the days, I had the chance to be mentored and supported by extremely talented artists at the beginning of my career, and they gave me my chance and supported me throughout just my journey. And I still meet them here and there when I can, because I obviously have a lot of respect for these people that kind of helped me and helped me to get where I am today. So with that in mind, that's really why I founded Vessel Forge last year, which is, as you know, a company dedicated to mentorship and career coaching in the 3D industry, and most especially game dev. And it's something that I've always loved, like sharing my knowledge either through articles, presentation, etc. But I really wanted to go a step further and have actual one-on-one session with mentees where we could go through their work, talk about their struggle, and just give them the right advice. So that was really the original plan. I started as the only mentor to teach environment art and material art, knowing that I've been environment artist for 10 years, and now material art is more material centric for over the past 10 years. So I kind of know how to do both. And I already had kind of that vision of having a team of expert around me that were like really like specialized in their fields, so we can like expand our panel of mentor and have like just top tier artists in each fields. And when I look at Vessel Forge today, I'm really glad, because that's exactly what I had in mind, and it's even better actually, because I had the chance to I reached out to obviously people that I know, that I admire as artists, and they all said yes, right away. Either they're too busy and they cannot make it, but they would love to, or they just said yes. So I feel super grateful for having all these people around me today. So yeah, that's it. I love the team. We have an amazing team. I'm very happy to have you all on board. And yeah, that's about it. That's my speech about Vessel Forge. But yeah, welcome again on this live stream.
I was gonna say, I think that like also adds on to the importance, I think, of building your network, right? Like you never know who you're gonna work with in the future that's just gonna keep you in mind for future opportunities and new prospects, right? Like I think that's very important at any stage of your development, and whoever it is that you're working with. I mean, if you're a mentee and you're working with your mentor, even if it's for the first time, like become best friends with your mentor, right? Like that's one of your first real relationships in the industry if you haven't worked in here before, or if you're a junior artist. And if you have for a while, then it doesn't hurt to add another wonderful human to your list, right? That you can always fall back on too for support. So I think that's always just a really, for me as a mentee, even in my prior mentorships, I always felt like I needed to keep that relationship going and strong, so that if I ever needed that support in the future, can always come back to a community that's got your back, basically. So yeah.
Fully, yeah. I think, yeah, go for it, Jer.
I was just going to add on to that a little bit and just kind of talk about something I think is important to mention when it comes to like mentorships. I feel like, there's so much more that comes along to getting a mentorship than there is with just like the technical side of stuff. I think a lot of times people can think, or at least I would consider, you're just doing it to learn like how to do this one specific thing. But something that I kind of wanted to share in my mentorships a little bit, and I think everyone else here is doing too, is you're reviewing your portfolio, you're talking about how to prepare stuff to apply to jobs in the industry. And I think that's also like especially applicable within like tech art too, is like how do you prepare a portfolio for tech art? Because there's not really like a junior tech art job, so you kind of need to like figure out a way to get into the industry and then get into like the technical art role. So whether that's starting as a modeling artist like me, or starting an environment, or you start as like a hardcore programmer and then switch into the art side. I think that's something that we're all doing with our mentorships in one way or another, is kind of like helping people to tailor their portfolios and like prepare for like the stuff that you don't really think about when you're applying for different positions.
Fully.
Yeah, I resonate.
Fully, yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I feel like, aside from the technical side of things, the skills, etc., I feel like, and what it's something that I really love is like, you have that connection during this one-on-one session, and you're gonna be supporting a mentee throughout a certain period of time, and you're not only sharing the skills, you're also there to support them, to reassure them when they need to. There's a lot of like stress and anxiety related to making art in general. It can be very stressful, and you just go through, it's like a roller coaster of emotion. Sometimes you're just like, especially when you're learning, there's like so much stuff to go through, And even for us, like seasoned artists, like we go through that a lot. We have to deal with that as well. It's just that how good are you at handling these bumps, I would say. So you gotta learn how to deal with that, but it's very important to um, for me, it's a big part of the mentorship is you know like reassuring mentees and telling them that they gotta trust the process, even though they're not in a spot that where they're like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't think it's looking good yet. Yes, but you're at this step. This is normal. You have these many more weeks. You're gonna get there because next step is these, following one is that, and you will see everything is gonna come together. And hopefully stuff come in, and then you start to be more and more confident, and then everything comes together, and then suddenly you're like, whoa, wow, this is looking great. Yes, but it takes a minute. So there's this whole process, and I feel like the strength of having this mentorship structure this way with actual one-on-one session is that you have a legit interaction with the mentor, and you can ask a lot of questions that are not necessarily related to what you're learning, but that can also be, what would you do as an artist, or what advice do you have for me on my portfolio? If you were to interview me, what type of question would you ask me? What do you think I should answer to this thing or that thing? And it goes way beyond just the skills. It's a whole thing that we share together, and I think that's what's creating this bond. And obviously I really appreciate all the mentees I had the pleasure to work with so far. They're all amazing. They've been working really hard, and I'm very happy to see where they're at today. They've all been doing a lot of progress during their mentorship, and again, it's just like, it's so rewarding for me to spend a bit of time with them and support them and see them grow, and just like go even beyond like anything they could have imagined. That's the best, I think. So that's why I love these so much.
Yeah, I'd love to tack onto that for a second. That kind of really resonates with me as well, Jonathan. I think it's a really great point of initial confidence in the industry, and then confidence even at 10, 15, 20 year mark.
Yep.
Sometimes I still go through the motions myself of not being sure if I'm doing something correctly or if I'm time boxing it incorrectly. But that's such a valuable thing to be able to bounce off of somebody in the industry, or even at my level, a coworker in the industry. So I really like that idea in your mentorships, and not, like it was mentioned before, it's not only the technical skill set that comes along with the job, it's also the interpersonal, chatting with people, getting into the industry. And I do think that it's a very valuable thing to have somebody to bounce those questions off of. I wish I had that when I was younger. Even I feel like I entered the industry at a time where it was like, you go to school and then you apply for a job, you take an art test, and that was pretty much about it. A lot of those online resources were kind of in their infancy. So it's really cool seeing this kind of thing blossom and be pretty valuable for students right now.
I feel like we can add on to the online resources thing a little bit as well too. Even if things were in their infancy a while ago, we also now have like so much information out there that it can all be kind of overwhelming when dealing with any of our mentorships in any way. I think it's very useful to have somebody alongside you to like help cut through the noise of like, okay, well, what's important for this specific project? What's important for the role I'm trying to get? What might be important for stuff that's like a little outside of my role? I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head right now, but there's just like, especially like in Houdini, I would say there's like so many different areas that you can specialize in. It can be hard to figure out like, okay, well, where do I want to invest the next 3 months of my life in learning? Because some of that can feel a little bit out of the way of what's actually going to get you to your goal. And I think it's really nice, again, just to have like a mentor on your side that's helping you focus focus your vision and focus your learning. And I'm also struggling a little bit with that on my own right now, with figuring out where I want to put the rest of my time. I'm trying to figure out if I should learn like a new software for modeling or just stick with Maya and stuff like that. So I'm considering getting a mentorship of my own for a completely different field, but besides the point.
Yeah, I think it's really like what's hard with I would say or job, but it's also slash passion. Um, it's that you cannot really stop learning. You got to keep going, and if you stop, this is really hard to get back into it. That's why you really kind of need to be always in movement and keep learning all the time. And there is always new techniques, and there is always new programs and better way to do stuff. So it's good when you find your way, but it's also good to keep an eye out and be like, oh, there's this new thing that could like save me a couple days of work. Like I should learn that, and that's important for you to kind of like be aware of that, and just make sure that you use a new tool when it's necessary, because obviously if you want to learn everything and anything, it's going to be tough. But you got to choose your battle. Let's say you're good at modeling in Blender, you don't necessarily need to learn a new modeling program if you can instead learn a texturing program. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of choose your battle, and you have just so many hours a day. So it's good to know how to do kind of a little bit of everything, even if it's not something that you want to specialize into. That's my opinion. And for example, and I'm going to expand on that point, is that it got me jobs to know how to do more stuff that I was supposed to. Because, example, on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I joined the team as a senior material artist. I was texturing an environment, creating textures for buildings and stuff like that. And then at some point, in production, we were in pretty good shape for material creation, and they were like, hey, you guys could help for props creation because we're late on that. So I ended up like helping for, I think, 8 to 9 months producing like weapons for the game. And that was great. I was modeling them, baking them, texturing them. But if I didn't know that, maybe they could have like, let some people go at some point. But, if you have skills and you know how to do different thing, it might just create opportunities for you. So I think that's always good to be curious, and it doesn't mean that you have to be an expert in material creation if you want to make environment, but that's good to know how to make materials. And vice versa. If you want to be a material artist, you definitely need to know how to build an environment, because that's how you're going to propose the best recipes to your modeler and be like, hey, I think we should have a tileable trim here because these, pixel density, all that. And that's how you make the best textures, in my opinion. That's how you know. So you need to kind of blur the lines and kind of like go into each discipline. I know, Jared, you used to be a lighting artist, so I think that's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And starting my career as a lighting artist, I always knew I wanted to be an environment artist, and that was kind of like a slow transition. But I started out in the industry as a lighting artist. I initially wanted to be a concept artist, but I was kind of terrible at putting those ideas onto paper, and even more so, I realized that it's more fun as a hobby even. But when I kind of transitioned over to environment art, I started with more modeling, and that was something that I really liked. I really liked world building, but then I ended up getting my break with texture art, which ended up kind of being the biggest passion of mine for a long time. Now, if we fixate and kind of move over to a more foliage-centric, so obviously vegetation and plants, so that's kind of a culmination of all those things put together. You have modeling, you have texturing, and obviously you're going to be world building with those assets. So to Jonathan's point, it is really valuable being able to have those different skill sets, especially if you start specializing in something like vegetation, because it really does take a little bit of everything to get good at that.
Fully. And yeah, I think for Grayson, it's even like it's the Pandora box. It's just like you can do anything and everything with Houdini, and that could be like spider webs to a scaffolding generator to anything. It's just like anything you can think of, like city generation, word generation, whatever. You can kind of make it. So I would say there's almost no limit to what you can procedurally generate, and I think Grayson is a great mentor because when you look at his portfolio, it's so diverse. Like he's doing like so many different things, and that I think that's a strength, and that's really a skill that not everyone has. So it's pretty awesome to see everything you can propose. Like there's like such a wide panel of options that you have. So I think it's good for everyone interested in environment art, but even like other jobs like even VFX, etc. That's totally valuable to dig into Houdini, Destructible, everything. Every game anyway require like Destructible and stuff like that, and dynamic assets. So that's a super interesting mentorship to follow as well, I feel.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit funny. I feel like every time I learn something new for Houdini on my own, in some way or another, it becomes like directly applicable to what I'm currently doing at work. And I don't know why that always happens, but it seems like every time I make like a new connection with something in Houdini, it's like the next week for some reason it becomes relevant in work in a different way. And I feel like, I don't know if that's just a coincidence. I'm sure you guys feel that way too with like new stuff that you're learning, but it's like, oh wait, I can do this thing now, and now I can use that with what I'm currently doing at work. So I feel like that's just kind of a funny thing I've noticed. But on a different note, I just wanted to talk quickly about my transition from a props artist into a technical artist. Because again, like I was saying, I think tech art is a interesting job to get into because there's not a lot of like junior tech art jobs out there. There may be some, but usually you have to start in one field and transition your way into it. So for me, I was starting doing a lot of modeling and texturing, creating assets in Maya, texturing in Substance Painter, and I really liked it, and it's really fun for me. But at the same time, in my free time, I was learning more about Houdini because I really wanted to get into the industry to be an effects artist. I guess, I've ended up there one way or another, but the thing that kind of really set me into this path would be when you're looking at what weaknesses your team has and trying to figure out how to make those stronger, I guess. So, for example, when we were transitioning from one old Maya version to a new one, some of our tools broke and they were a little bit outdated, I would say, and I realized that we could create a new version of that in Houdini. To be a little more specific about it, we were doing like fracturing tools, and we couldn't fracture objects anymore. And I was like, well, there's probably a better solution we could do here in Houdini. And so once I started doing that is when I think I had some people starting to notice that I could do stuff a little bit outside of texturing and modeling, and that sort of set me more into the path of becoming a technical artist. So it's kind of like you have to find those little things that people aren't telling you to do to kind of get to where you want to be. It's not usually obvious, I think, to figure out how to get to the exact career that you want to get to.
True. Yeah, you need to sometimes jump on opportunities. As I said, I wanted to be mostly I wanted to be environment artist, and I had the job as a concept artist because I was good at drawing. So I started my journey as a concept artist as an intern, and at some point they were like, "Oh, you wanna do 3D? Well, let's do a test. Like, let's try to make okay, do this, like remake this concept that you've made, but make it in 3D." And I was like, "All right, let's go." And that's my chance. And I was like, I did that project. I focused on it for 2 weeks, and then it was a small environment, and people loved it, and they were like, "All right, well, your internship is over. We might call you back." And then we might have like, contract in about a month, and 2 weeks later they called me back and they were like, hey, we got a gig for you. I was to work on PS2, very very like simple game that I worked on back then. It was like it was called a Reckless Chariot Racer, if I'm correct, and it was like a copy of Mario Kart, basically, kind of with other skins. And that's the first game I worked on, and it was on PS2, and I was like making tracks for this game, and I was my first 3D gig, and I was like super excited about it. That was awesome. So yeah, as Grayson says, like sometimes you have opportunities and you gotta take them. Same for materials. I've always been making materials on Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls. Not really on Horizon Zero Dawn. I was mostly, I would say, level artist overall over there. But throughout my career, I've always made textures, but I didn't really I didn't really go further than that, even though I was making shaders in Maya and stuff on Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. That was really fun, but I didn't really push further than that. And then when Substance started to appear for me, since I was like so used to Maya and node-based program, it was the same thing than being in the Hypershade, and I was like, oh, I know that already. Oh, I really love it. That's really cool, and I can connect all these functions together. And for me, it was like instant like match. I really understood the philosophy behind it, and everything was like so smooth to me, and it really looked familiar. So it really clicked, and I just like kept digging into it. I really enjoyed it, and I keep having so much fun in Substance Designer. For me, it's just like I'm working. I'm like, oh, I love this program. It's so cool. I don't know. It put me in a mood where I'm like, and really enjoying what I'm doing, because I'm in total control, and I picture things in my head, and I just flow with the whole thing. That's my way of approaching materials. But yeah, again, when I started digging more into material creation with these tools, that's when people started noticing, damn, like Jonathan is pretty good with this new program. Like, you should focus on that more. And that's when I transitioned after 10 years as an environment artist to I became more and more specialized in texturing, and I had my first official material artist labeled job at Ubisoft Quebec to work on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's where I really started officially as material artist. But before that, it was only environment art gigs, and I ended up becoming a principal environment artist at Lightspeed LA, which is kind of like in between. And even though my focus was mostly material art, and today lead material artist there, but again, it's been for me I always love creating environment anyway, so you kind of go from one to another, no matter what, especially for material creation. But yeah, to go back to your point, Grayson, I think it's very important to see opportunities where they are, and if you have the chance and the opportunity to show some skills that are hidden, that that you have, and that you want to push forward, then it's good to do it, and it's gonna open up a path sometime. And I think that's how we all got there, by taking these opportunities, and don't stay stuck, and don't stay stagnant. I would say, if stagnant is the worst, I think, in our business and industry. It's just like you gotta be always in movement and keep learning at all time, even for us old devs. I mean, I talk for myself. Jerry is way younger, and Grayson is he's good, but I'm like 20 plus. Damn, that's thinks a little bit, but
I'm curious with you guys, a little bit of a tangent here. I'm curious about some like pet peeves you guys might have when it comes to like seeing applications specifically for the jobs that you guys are working in right now. Like an example just of stuff that I mean, I think I would be curious about this if I was trying to get in tech art, for example. Something that I wish I saw less of, or I guess something that hurts me when I'm looking at portfolios a little bit, is you have. Oh my god, I'm forgetting my train of thought here. You have very technical minded people, and you see that they're very very competent with their work, but they're presenting it in a way that's not up to the level of the tech that they have behind it. Like they have some sort of like procedural wall generator, but then it's just in a grayscale background in Houdini, for example, and they're not putting it like an environment, and they're not doing the full thing. They're not putting lighting with it. They're not showing off the full suite of skills that it can kind of take to show that you're competent in multiple areas within art. So that's just like an example of like maybe a pet peeve that I have. But I was curious if there's something more specific to like foliage or material creation that you guys see sometimes.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's. I think the overarching would be putting it into context. How are you going to use that asset? And I think, as a texture artist or as vegetation artist, like putting something into context, like a material. We have a material ball versus a set of materials, putting it together and blending it together. A broken, damaged wall, something like that. And it's kind of the same idea for a vegetation, and you can make a single tree or you can make a single grass asset, but how does all of that build from, how does all of that build compositionally? How do we use it from the largest shapes down to the smallest shapes? So that would be one of my kind of, I guess, pet peeves. Like I do enjoy seeing singular assets from time to time, but okay, if you want me to kind of, hire you, like show me how you're going to use that in context, really bring that asset to life. I think is something really strong for me.
Yeah, totally. Piggybacking like Jared with that train of thought. Like for me, for materials, I would say it's really like when I see portfolio with only material balls and no environment. For me, it's like it's not a deal breaker. As let's say I interview you and I see your portfolio. It's not a no, but it's just like I need to see what you do with these materials, because ultimately they're not meant to be on a ball. They're meant to be applied on an environment or on characters or whatever, but they have a purpose. And if they're just like showcased on a sphere, cool, this is great, but what are you planning to do with that? And you have like those approach, like clearly you can have like hero textures. What I call hero textures is, example, the barrack ceiling I made a while ago. That's a hero texture. You spend time on it, you put all the cool details you want, but in production you're probably not gonna do that this way, just because might not be efficient. Maybe it's something you see from afar, and then you can, in that case, just break it down into more materials and have tileable textures and baked asset that you add on top, etc. Many ways of doing this kind of things, but that's cool to have that in your portfolio. But I also want to see that you understand how do we use these recipes in production. In production, you right away, you look at a concept, you need to be able to say, all right, this part is going to be a trim, this part is going to be a tileable texture. What are the metrics? How many trims can I fit on my sheet? I have a 2K texture. How many centimeter each part are going to like occupy on that trim? And how many trim textures do I need? How many materials do I need to fetch in total here, etc. So you gotta, it's just like a gymnastic, I would say. You need to break down the concept, think about the model, how everything is modeled, how pieces are separated. Sometimes you're going to come back to your modeler and be like, hey, dude, can you separate this part because I want to do this and that? Oh, okay. So obviously there is a bit of back and forth, but long story short, to come back to your point, I love to see hero textures in a portfolio, but I also want to see production materials, and I want to see how did you apply these textures in a small diorama or something like that. And this for me speaks more than all the crazy things you can do procedurally in Designer. It's good to showcase your skill, because for me these hero textures are made for that. You're basically you're showing off, like, hey, I can do all these crazy things in Designer with the height map. But in production, you don't necessarily can leverage that all the time. Even though now with nanite displacement, you can do a lot of cool stuff, which is great. And that's just a parenthesis. I remember back in the days, people making fun of people doing hero textures with height map and displacement and stuff like that, saying this is useless in video game. And now with the understanding that you gathered from that, your understanding of height map and volumes, it's so much further. And all the people laughing back then are just like, oh my god, I suck. Yeah. So you got to be ahead of your time and push the limit, and that's always what you got to do. Kind of, it's just like try to, okay, you know what, I'm really good at this, let me go as far as I can in that. And sometimes you just go beyond everything that has been created so far, and you're like, oh my god, like, I didn't know I was really good at this. And it happens. So again, going back to the portfolio, sorry, I'm taking a lot of tangents, but yeah, just show what you can do in production. And this is gonna probably give you more opportunities than just like showing just the technical side of things, I would say, or just the as I said, the hero materials. And for deck art, is probably, I feel like it's almost harder, because you can make so many type of tools, but how do you present it well? How do you make it look good? And it's hard to sell sometimes. So I think it's something that you really need to spend time on, being able to present your work in the nicest way possible. And you can see it, you can see like artists at the, for me, the first thing I look at usually on a portfolio is basically the thumbnails. If you're not good at making a nice composition in a square with a nice balance of brightness, contrast, and saturation, and where I clearly see what I'm supposed to focus on, usually you still need to kind of like work on it. Usually all the best artists that I know, you look at their portfolio and I'm like, oh, the thumbnails are kick-ass. Like, they're really cool.
There's an art to ArtStation posts.
Sorry?
There's an art to ArtStation posts for sure.
Yeah. I'm thinking about ArtStation, obviously, but even general composition. Mm-hmm. It's very important. Like, frame your stuff in a nice way, and yeah, create a little diorama. I think what you said, Jared, is very true. When you make a tree and you make some grass, then you got to do something out of that.
Even like putting something into context doesn't even always necessarily have to be like a full scene, right? Like, it can be a nice vignette or what you'd call like a beautiful corner, something that you can see the decisions that you made in order to build out a small vignette, where you could take that whole thing and build a forest out of it. If I'm talking more foliage centric, like if there's a palm tree, a couple beach plants, and some sand, I automatically know I could build out a whole beach with just these couple assets, and that is enough to really get your point across. It doesn't always have to be like a giant scene. Definitely not saying there's anything wrong with doing that, but putting things into context can mean a lot of different things. But that, I think, is the most important part, is the context of those materials, plants, whatever you might be making.
Totally. Cool. Penny, shall we take a couple questions? Because I see that we're already at almost 50 minutes. So maybe we have a couple questions.
Let's do it, guys. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask these guys? They're dropping a lot of hot takes for us here. Experimentation, I would say. If there's something you're working on right now that you're like, well, what's going to help me stand out, right? Like what questions do you guys have for us, right? That's what this community is here for. And right now you've got Grayson, you got Jared, you got Jonathan here. Feel free to type away. So we have a couple questions, you're right, here on the live stage channel here. So Jonathan has asked, will there be any future job opportunities available to us in this channel, or is it strictly informational for us to learn? Are there any upcoming in-person events, and will mentees get into exclusive channels? If you'd like, I can answer. At least,
Right.
Jonathan, maybe you and me both can tag team this one. For number one, will there
Sure.
be any future job opportunities? Opportunities are everywhere. I will be keen on sharing resources with you guys if there's absolutely something that you're interested in looking into. I will say that this isn't necessarily set up to be a job portal, but we are more so catering to help you get that job, if that makes sense. So, like all the tools, all the resources that you need, if there's something specific you want us to look at, feel free to drop it in the channels. We can help you with your projects. We can help with guiding you to resources to find work, even help you through the application process. If you wanted to ping me, we can talk about it. I don't want this to be a walls-based community, right? I want us to be able to freely talk about this kind of stuff because it's important, and we want to see you get that job if you don't have one, or if you're looking to upskill and you're looking to transition into a different area of your field or a different career. I mean, like, let's talk about it and like the proper steps that it will take to get there. I know Jonathan is extremely keen on offering career advice, and we could do that very generally for you guys, but he does have an option for you guys to book with him if you did want to get very in-depth sort of community and career advice. But we are here still to help very generally with those things. And yes, we do want to get you those opportunities as much as we can. As far as in-person events goes, spoiler alert a little bit, we will I guess have some involvement with GDC. Jonathan, I don't know if you want to explain.
Yeah. So yeah, if you guys want to meet us in person, we'll definitely be at GDC. We'll reveal more info next year. A lot of exciting stuff coming up. But yeah, we'll be there in person. I think that would be the occasion to meet up. It's the first or second week of March. So yeah, keep an eye out on that. And yeah, we'll be in San Fran with Penny and maybe some more people from the team. We'll give you more info soon. But just to double down on the and look back on the career coaching. And again, this is only for people interested in that topic. But I've also have a lot of question regarding working in a foreign country. I'm originally from Europe. I'm from France, so you know, I'm used to move from a country to another, and it you have a couple like certain requirement as well. You gotta obviously learn the language, but you also have all the I'm definitely not an attorney, and here disclaimer, like I'm not giving like any advice on that aspect, but you need to know what you got to go through first, and you have a couple requirements for that, so for visa and stuff like that. So it's always important to be aware of these things so you can start working on it as soon as possible. But again, very open to talk about all these topics during these sessions.
Awesome.
And Benny, I let you take over.
Yes, and the last question, will mentees get into exclusive channels? Yes. The answer is yes. We do have a small section for you guys once you do become an actual mentee with us. This is going to be a more direct line to our mentors, just to get extra feedback, extra career advice, extra help. We've opened up our channels here for you as just part of our general community, right? Like, we still want anyone who's interested to like interact with us to be able to. I think there is a little bit of a like direct line that does just naturally come with our mentorship, that we want you to always stay connected, and you always will have access to this. It won't go away. So yes, if you do sign up for one of our mentorships, then here you are, right? Like, you're here forever with us, so we'll
Yeah.
always be here to help you.
And it's always what I tell my mentees is that, once the last session is over, there's no hard cut. Like, you want to reach out to me, to any mentors, just do it. We're here for you. If you have any questions on if like your next project, just post it in the chat, ask for feedback. We're here to, we will always be able to find a minute to hop in, send you a couple like feedback on it and help you out, and just try to support you as much as we can. So it's not last session, it's not like over, we're never gonna talk ever again. Of course, we're here for you guys, and we'll do everything we can to keep helping you after the mentorship. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's important.
Let's see, Rayana has asked some questions, Rose has asked some questions. I'm just gonna kind of go through the list, okay, guys? So feel free to anybody, Jared, Grayson, how much creative freedom do you get while working on a game? Out of some insight here to share.
I'd say 50-50. You get the creative freedom to figure out how to get from the start point to the end goal, and you can try to pitch your artistic direction along the way. But always the goal, I would say, would be give them exactly what they ask for, and then on the side you can be like, and also here's this. So you can give them the exact asset and say, okay, well, here's some other ideas I had. I've gone ahead and done those. If you like those, we can add them in. Otherwise, let's just stick with what you asked for. And that can kind of get the ball rolling and allow you to give some creative input. But it's also going to put you in a position where you look very proactive and are still getting the job done that you were asked to do.
Yeah, I would absolutely echo what Grayson said. I think even specifically at Naughty Dog, there's a lot of freedom to build upon ideas, come to your your bosses, anybody around the studio, and pitch ideas and bring things to the table. Creative freedom also means, to me, being able to pick and choose the workflows that I want. So there's a lot of freedom with being able to use different programs to achieve the results that I need to get to for kind of the best possible result. So 100% agree with what Grayson said.
Yeah, totally. I don't have more to that. I think you guys covered it. Usually you can come up with a lot of, if you have suggestions, usually people are open for it. So yeah, it's a great environment. Usually you can, put a little bit of yourself into what you're making and not only follow the vision from the art director. It's an exchange. It's a dance. So it's really cool.
I think
you really got to bounce those ideas. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, I think that's part of the beauty of collaboration, right? Too, because like you might have like idea number one, right? But you're able to bounce that off onto your teammate or your next part of the workflow, and then you find something else that works better through collaboration, through communication. Like your ideas expand and they collapse and expand the more you talk about them with your teams. So I don't know, I think that's kind of beautiful and kind of an intimidating aspect, I think, for a lot of people just now coming into this industry. They have to think like, oh, maybe I have to just continuously bring like all of these brand new ideas, right? Like that's kind of stressful. But it's like the more you talk about them, the more you, bounce ideas back and forth between you and your teammates. You trust each other, like more ideas come out from that. And even things that you never thought of before, right? Even in a mentorship, I can imagine it's and I've experienced it for myself. It's like, being open to embracing ideas that aren't even your own, because they actually turn out quite fine, and you get to put your own unique spin on them as well. So I think that's a very good point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, maybe
even.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jared.
Okay, sorry. I was just gonna kind of like take that idea and put it into the vegetation pipeline, or even the mentorships I've been a part of so far. That creative freedom also comes with like, there's really not one specific way to make certain vegetation and plants. There's always different ways to kind of experiment and find the best outcome. So I do think that that's really important. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about teaching and mentorships is I get a lot out of it, as well as being able to share my knowledge. So I learn things, you learn things, and everyone kind of comes out
Exactly.
Kind of touches upon a point I see in the chat about how do you stay consistent or learning, teaching, and mentoring and taking those mentorships. I think it's, those all, you learn in each of those aspects, and it keeps you from getting complacent, I guess, and you keep kind of building upwards.
I would say you learn and you stay inspired all the time, because I think it's the best just to see your mentees just clicking and coming back to the next session with like something awesome, and you're like, damn, yeah, you got it, that's really cool. And it's really like hyping me up like a lot. Like I really love that. This is really cool. Maybe we can go to Rihanna at some or Rayana, sorry if I don't pronounce your name right, I'm sorry. Asking, I have a 6 months long thesis project coming up in 2027. Would I be able to get a mentor for that project? And how early should I apply for mentorship to secure a spot? Can I book already now? So 1 year ahead. Yes, we recommend people to apply as soon as possible. If you're accepted based off of your portfolio, experience, all that, obviously, we will just book a slot for you. You just need to finalize the scheduling of the booking. Once it's finalized, we define with you and your mentor the first starting date. So, for example, for me, I'm going to take myself as an example. I'm fully booked for January and February, but people start applying now and they will start in March, for example. So let's say you need to start, let's say in summer, you can already apply and start in summer eventually. We usually recommend people to, start or apply as early as possible so we can get you scheduled. So answer, long story short, yes, you can apply right now. And let me see if we have other questions.
I just want to quickly go back to Gabe's question about consistency just for a moment. Just something I think is helpful for me. I think there's ebbs and flows to how much work you can do after work when it comes to learning. I know for right now, I'm taking just a little bit of time to learn every day, but when I'm feeling like, pretty burnt out or pretty tired, the rule I kind of try to set for myself is 20 minutes a day, which doesn't sound like a lot, but, it'll add up over time. And the rule kind of, for me, it's like, okay, 20 minutes is what I need to get into my flow state. If I'm really not getting there after 20 minutes, maybe today is just not the day for me. But there are times when that 20 minutes can turn into 1 or 2 hours. So I think just having that leniency with yourself, you can't be too hard on yourself when you're trying to learn after work, because I'm exhausted. So, I think just having that flexibility, but still pushing yourself just a little bit is a fine line to walk. And I think that's, for me, the 20-minute thing works well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was usually kind of like a big fan of working through lunch. That was my thing. I was usually eating really quick and just go back to my desk and start working on personal stuff for an hour. That was how I was able to work on personal stuff most of the time. Maybe we can take more question. Let me see.
Yeah, sorry, I was just responding in chat.
No, you're good. You're good. For a material art mentorship, could you talk about what kind of project environment piece would be ideal for it? For instance, should it be a prop or a full environment? It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. I usually invite people to, if they're not specialized in environment art, I still encourage them to create a small diorama. I think that's a good exercise, because you can still model, understand what is textile density, how to get your metrics, be familiar with Unreal, import your kit pieces in there, and work on the materials. So obviously there is like a part of the mentorship where you will learn a couple things that are not directly related to material creation, but I think it's fundamental for me to know that. So no no specific subject. It's pretty open. But I would usually suggest to go with a small environment, something that really just allow you to focus on the materials as fast as possible.
Awesome. Let's see, there's plenty more questions here for us to go through. We'll probably answer a few more. We don't want to take up too much of y'all's time. Thank you. I mean, again, just the support and everybody just being here today. I know it's
Yeah,
a
thank y'all.
Thursday, right? Like, I hope everyone's having a good Thursday. But thank you so much for being here too. Just a few more questions then, I guess. Let's see who have we got here, Jonathan, or who would like to take these? Let's see. And oh, rest assured, everybody, we'll come through these questions even after the session too.
Yeah.
If we could stay here with you all day, we would. But we'll come back and we'll review and answer these for you guys here in the chat. Let's see. Ryan's got a lot of good portfolio questions. We can always talk about those in a new portfolio session that we can have coming up soon. I think would be good.
Yeah. Little parenthesis here. We're definitely gonna be hosting more live events in the coming weeks. We're trying to figure out the right pace, but we'll have a lot of new guests, surprises coming up, live session,
demos,
portfolio reviews. Yes. So it's gonna be fun. I hope you guys are ready.
Ooh, I've got a good question here from Valentina. Is there a certain level of experience the mentees should have before applying to any of the mentorships? She says, I've seen some great work posted in the Vessel Forge website. Everyone seems to have a great experience working in the games industry or a great understanding of it. If a certain experience is required, can we share what we are working on at the moment, building skills, etc., to get any tips, feedback until we reach that level? I can tag team this one with you, Jonathan. Yes, sure. Valentina, please share your work in the channel. In fact, there is a channel called Whips and Projects. If you want to throw your projects in there, ask for some extra advice. I'm sure myself, Jonathan, some community members here, like your peers who, I've even already seen in the introductions channel some folks that are already working in studio. They're just kind of here to hang out and just get some more insight, get some more expand their network, get some more resources. So you can honestly get peer-to-peer feedback too, and that is still just as valuable. Let's just say, for instance, that you did apply and your application bounced for whatever reason, usually for a good reason, but we still follow up with you on that. It's like, just because it bounced doesn't mean that you're not good enough. That just means that we want to work maybe with you here in the community a bit first, as you were saying, and we can even bring you up to that kind of snuff over time so that those mentorship opportunities do get more available to you. I will say that there is a quality sort of level that we're looking for, and maybe Jonathan can expand on that just a little bit.
Yeah, totally. I would say we're just like trying to have people that apply and are at the right level, just because I don't want mentees to be frustrated with their mentorship, and I don't want mentors to be frustrated either, because we want to bring you to your goals, right? If you're not ready yet, it's not gonna work. So I really prefer you going online and find free resources than pay for a mentorship that you wouldn't you won't be able to follow, basically. So that's kind of my thought process. I'm like, you have so much stuff online that is free. This is not a cash grab. We want you to come with us in that journey, and we bring you where you want to go, and we want you to reach your goals. But if we also want to be realistic on where you're at right now. If you're not ready yet to take this mentorship because it requires a lot of technical knowledge already, then we will most likely say no. Not because you're not good, but maybe because a couple things in your portfolio are not there yet. And again, we try to provide some feedback. And again, if you want to share your work in the channel, we're all going to be happy to provide feedback and help you and guide you to get to a point where you're like, oh, now I can apply, and they told me that this is working, so now you can pretend to the mentorship and be in you got to the level you needed to be. So there's many factors for getting rejected, but it's not necessarily the skills, so don't worry about that. And again, if we say no once, it doesn't mean that we will say no the second time, so don't give up on that, and just keep working.
I will say, right, because our mentorships are 4 weeks to 8 weeks, so 4 or 8 weeks, that time goes by fast, guys. So you're gonna want to bring everything it is that you got to take advantage of those 4 to 8 weeks, right? So that's another level of it too, is that it goes by really fast. And so every hour with your mentor is very precious. Warrant, if you are signing up for the mentorship, you do have the private channels with us where we can still converse with you, help you with your feedback, help you with getting more resources, even externally here in the community, guys. Like I do want to stress, if you are not taking a mentorship with us, please still post your work. Giovanna posted here. I think it would be nice to have in this community a channel for peer feedback. Do that, please. I want to see your projects. I think that's one of the things that not only inspires us as your peers and obviously your mentors, but I think peer-to-peer feedback and any feedback you can get on your work at the early stages is going to just help you excel. So go to that Whips and Projects channel, guys. Drop in your pieces there. Give us a little descript of like what it is that you're working on, what you might need help with or specific feedback on, and we'll take a swing at it. We'll give you that advice. I'm monitoring our channels. I'm making sure that everyone's questions are going to get answered. So I do want you to know, like, this is a very personal space. I want you guys to feel very comfortable here. And I think that we could even work on projects together, like even Giovanna was saying. We do have a general voice channel. You can hop in there anytime you want, guys. Just start working on your projects as a group. I love the idea of peer support in like a group setting, helping with accountability. We can get accountability buddies here, right, if we're working on our projects. Or if you're just about to put those finishing touches on a project, post it, right? See if there's any last minute changes or adjustments you want to make. It's always good to get advice straight from people that know exactly what it is you need to be working on. It's a little different when you ask, your brother or your sister or mom or dad, and you're like, hey, does this look good? And they're like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. But when you ask like someone who's in your field, or you ask a mentor, they're like, hey, like you can actually tweak this, you know what I mean? Or like you can actually, try this new tip or tool or workflow and kind of dive in deeper with you on that. So it's special to have a community like this where people will tell you straight up what needs to be fixed, what new ideas you can try. So absolutely, start posting away.
Yes. That's great. Well, thank you all for all the questions. We'll get to it in the chat for sure. We'll answer to all your questions. But yeah, I think we got a little over an hour. It's I think this is the end of that first live stream. It was great. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys as well. I think we really have a beautiful community coming together. It's really awesome to see more and more people joining. So again, thank you all for joining our channel and being with us today. And yeah, we'll keep you posted on Penny and I will keep you posted on the chat roles as well, obviously on socials, but we'll keep you posted on all the cool events coming up for the end of the year / next year. We've been cooking. We have a lot of stuff coming up. You're gonna be excited, and we're excited already. So no, it's gonna be amazing. Jared, Grayson, thank you for your time, guys. I know that you're very busy, and yeah, it's been a pleasure having you. Thanks again for today, and yeah, love having you in the team, guys. It's awesome.
Everybody, and Also, just one last sign off from me. I am always open to feedback. You can DM me right here in Discord anytime you guys want. Like, I'm always open to it. I want this space to be exactly what you want it to be. So just hit me up anytime. Okay. No, again, no walls. This is from Vessel Forge to you, right? Like we want you guys here. So just don't be a stranger. Okay. That's like the biggest thing is show up and don't be a stranger. We're here for you.
Yep. This is as real as it gets. Like, no walls for sure. No worries about that. So yeah, thanks again, guys. And yeah, we'll see you very soon. And if you're going to GDC, we'll be there.
Oh, I hope to meet some of you at GDC. That would be legit. I'm super excited. I'm really excited. It's going to be a good time. Thank you for joining, guys. And we will see you in the new year, bringing you a whole wave of calendar events, okay? Like, you're going to see me popping off at announcements and all kinds of stuff. We're going to really dive into it next year. But until then, have a wonderful and amazing holiday. Have a happy new year,
Yes.
everybody, if we don't see you until then, but we'll be around. Just ping us. And thank you so much for everything, guys. Appreciate you so much.
Hey, guys. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Thanks for joining.
Bye bye.